right for them. Beautiful. So thank you so much. So I believe next we have Mrs. Temitope Oguniro. Mrs. Temitope, are you here? Mrs. Temitope? Okay. Okay, so Mrs. Temitope is a special education needs expert. She's going to take us through practical tips because, you know, now we've explained a lot. We've talked about what needs to be done. So now she's going to give us practical tips on how these things can be done, on what we need to be done, how we can go about it. Okay, Bolaha says, thank you so much, Asabi. That your inspiration was an eye-opener. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bolaha, for that. Okay, so Muizat would need the slide. Sure, Muizat, just send me a message. You can send me, if you have my WhatsApp number, I would share it at the end of the session. So whoever needs a slide, you can just share with me.
Yes,
okay,
I'm here.
Okay, so Madam Temitope Oguniro is here. She's a special education needs expert and she heads the department in Grenville Schools in GRA Ikeja. So she's going to give us practical tips. A lot of us now, we know what is being done, or you know what and what the symptoms are and things of that nature. But just like Dr. Yinka said, it is something that is more management than cure. So she's going to, Madam Temitope is going to give us insight into how we can manage certain disabilities and certain learning difficulties. So Ma, you have the floor now.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here, but let me quickly correct something as well. Dr. Akindayomi says something. No one is an expert. Truly, no one is an expert. We still need to rely on the knowledge and collaborating with other experts for us to be able to meet the needs of these children we're talking about. So, all right, so this morning, most of the things I would have loved to say has already been said by the first speaker, that's Dr. Akindayomi. I'm sorry if I didn't get it right. All right, so most of it has been said by her. And so I'll just go straight to the practical tips of what to do. I'm going to share my slide. I'll have to be jumping from one slide from one to another because what I prepared thinking, you know, I'm going to take those signs, the symptoms and all of that, but I'll just move straight to things that we need to do. So I'm
okay,
going to...
Ma, you can still give us kind of a
yes,
brief
okay,
run.
so,
yes.
So before I'm going to start, we have few activities to do. Sorry, I'm trying to share my, yes, slide. So can we all see the slide, please?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, Ma, we can hear you.
All right, so the first activity I want all of us to be part of it is this. As educator, as a teacher in the classroom, now I'm presenting a scenario. So we're all going to tell me what we should do to make sure every student in that class do the same thing. Now, let us listen to this. Now, you want your students to look at a tree outside of a class, which is a bit far away from the class. And you want everyone in the class to look at that tree. Now, you have a student who is not that very tall, and probably from his or her sitting position, she won't be able to see that tree. You also have another student who has an hearing impairment. And there's another student in that class that is low on vision. And you want these 3 students and every other student in that class to look at that tree. What do you think you can do? First, what do you think you can do for these 3 kind of students? Please.
Okay, but I think Ngozi Victoria is raising her hand. I believe she wants to answer the question.
Okay, please unmute her so that let's hear her.
Ngozi, can you hear us? Ngozi, can you hear us? Okay, she has dropped off. So I think another person can answer the question.
Yes, okay. Is anyone ready to answer the question, please?
If you're sure, you can just, okay, Sherifat, Ladipo, Hassan. Okay, somebody is asking that you repeat the question. So,
all right.
Just repeat the question, then Sherifat answer.
The question is this. In your classroom, you have a child who is low on vision, a child that's visually impaired. You have a child that is hard of hearing or have hearing impairment, and you also have one that is not so tall, and you have the neurotypical children in your classroom, and there's a tree outside of the class that you want every one of them to look at. So what do you need to do for every one of them to be able to do the same to see that tree?
Okay, Sherifat, you want to answer the question, you can go ahead.
I will simply bring the tree to the class. Get
a tree that is planted, rooted, a tree, not a leaf, not a stick now.
Then I'll take them outside.
But you don't want to take them outside. You want them to look through the window to see this.
Let me think again. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
All right, because of our time, for these children, all you need to do is what accommodation, how do you modify this? A child that is low on vision, you could get a magnifying glass. He will look at it at the same time. The one that has hearing impairment, you can get him a hearing aid. And for someone that is not tall, you can get that child to climb on something. And at the end of the day, all of them will be looking at the same thing and doing the same thing at the same time. This is what we call inclusion. Including and factoring everyone into your teaching, into what you want to do. Now, when we talk about, so this is what inclusion, one of the things that inclusion is all about. The second activity is this. Mrs. Akindayemi has spoken about children with dyslexia and dyspraxia, dyscalculia, children with learning disability. Now, and many of these children, some of the symptoms she mentioned is about encoding, decoding, letter issues, and inability to read. Please, wherever you are, get a sheet of paper. Place it on your forehead and try to write your name. I just want every one of us to experience what most of these children with special needs are going through. So maybe with this, we'll be able to understand them, empathize with them, and then see ourselves in that position. And then we'll be able to plan for them during our lessons. Get a sheet of paper, place it on your forehead, and write. While that paper, try to write your name. And when you are done, take a look at this. If what you have written makes meaning of it meaningful, And I'm sure the way what it will look like once I'm done. Have we all tried to do that?
It's
Yes,
almost
I've done that.
impossible. Oh.
It was stressful.
I got the SH in my name only.
Just the SH.
Now, the last activity, I'm sure you can see, this is what it is for children who are dyslexic. That is the way the letters that they say looks like, which makes it difficult for most of them to be able to read. Now, the last activity is...
Sorry about that. Please go on, ma.
All right. Now, look at the last one. This is on decoding. The activity 1 says, if A is this shape and I is this cross, E give you this, write a short sentence and read what you're able to decode with this, the code that has been given to each letter. Is there any word you can form from this? I'm sure many people, well, few might be able to get it and do it within the shortest, maybe within 5 seconds, while some will struggle with it for like a minute, 2, and some might not even be able to do it at all.
Yes, ma'am, I'm struggling with it.
Is there anyone that has been able to come up with any word?
I've not even been able to understand what you're saying.
Thank you.
I come out with heart cross.
Heart what?
Heart crossed. When you crossed your heart.
Heart crossed. Very good. That's nice.
The others I can't.
That's a good one. Is there anyone that is being able to come up with another word? All right, so while we're at it, now looking at the 3 activities we've done, actually the second and the third one, the same thing, the same way we are struggling to decode this, the same way the letters appeared when we put on our forehead to write it, the same way children with special needs are struggling in our various classes. Now, what do we now need to do as educators to meet the need of these students in our various classrooms? So now I'm going to start with this. The objective of today's lesson is that at the end of this section, we're able to identify different areas of learning strengths. And the second one is to learn strategies to support students with special and not just the learning difficulties, with other special needs in our classroom. How do we meet them? All right, so I don't want to go over the definition of what special needs is again, because Doctor has already told us what it means. A child that will need that requires additional support for that child to be able to access the school curriculum. However, in many parts of the world, teachers, we have little or no specialized training in making the teaching and learning practice and the setup of our classroom to be fully inclusive and accessible to the need of this learner. So today we'll discuss some of these strategies. Now, the first thing as a teacher, as educator, is for us to know the students we're working with. When you don't know your student, there is no way you can meet their need. It's like trying to hit a target you don't see. It doesn't work. So we should understand that the students in our class, they may look alike, they may have, but each of them, they have unique combination of background, they have different strengths, they have different needs and different learning style, and their interest also. It affects the learning outcome. So we need to understand our students. When you know the students you are working with, it will help you in so many ways. It helps with your innovation, creativity, how you can collaborate with others, then how you can differentiate the curriculum, or applying the method of universal design in learning. When I talk about universal design in learning, we talk about the multiple means of representation, multiple means of instruction for every for every learner in your class to be able to access the school curriculum. So as a teacher, the first thing we need, apart from knowing your students, we need a growth mindset, that this is something I can do. My years of teaching, there's something that has helped me to grow. Diversity has helped me to grow, because I come across different students in my class with different ability and with different interests, and understanding them has helped me a lot to meet the needs of these learners. So in our various classrooms, do we know the number of visual learners that we have? Who are the visual learners? These are the learners who learn by seeing. Sorry, I'm going to rush everything because of our time. Okay, so maybe subsequent one, we can go into more details and how you can, then I'm going to send something to the host, that how you can identify the learners in your class. Who are the visual learners? Who are the auditory learners? And then the kinesthetic one. Visual learners are the ones that learn by seeing what you're doing. They need pictures, they need videos to watch for them to be able to understand the concept. We have those that learn by hearing. Those are the auditory learners, and the kinesthetic are those that learn by doing. Whatever it is, you are drawing a shape, you are drawing circle, they want to draw as well. That is when they do the same thing you have done, then that is the only way they learn. So, and as a teacher, if your teaching style is just to talk, definitely you are not including everyone. If it is just to talk, the visual learners are left out, the kinesthetic is left out. And if it is just to display videos and pictures, what about the ones that need to hear? So all of this is important. How do we identify this learner so that during our lesson plan, we can as well, we would have been ready by making provision for this set of, for different learners in our classroom. So when we talk about the learning needs, we're not talking about labeling. Labeling a child is not, when we talk about autism, what is that need you have identified in that child that you want to meet? Is it struggling with communication? Is it struggling with reading? Is it grammar? Is it comprehension? What exactly is it that you have identified? It is only a psychologist or a specialist in that area that can tell you this child is dyslexic, this is dysgraphia, this is autism, or this is ADHD. Yours is to just, what are the things you have noticed? He can't read properly. His pencil grip is weak. He doesn't seem to pay attention, and so many other things that we must have seen in the learners that we handle. So, how do we now factor in all of these learners in our various classrooms and during our lesson plan? So I don't want to start sharing the symptoms of dyslexia, reading, and all of that. So we'll just move to how do we help them? How to help students with learning disability to succeed in our classes. One, by understanding each student learning needs, parents and teachers can provide appropriate help and support. And this support can be offered in the form of accommodation and modification. The supporting children with special needs mainly based on the accommodations you can put in place and how you can modify the curriculum to suit for them to be able to do it, to do the same thing with other students in the class. when we talk about differentiation or modifying the curriculum, it is not about dumbing it down or water it down to the extent that, for example, maybe others are doing multiplication, you are telling that the special needs to start counting 1 to 10. It doesn't work that way. So for the child, they're doing multiplication, the child can start with counting in 2s, counting in 4, depending on the level of the multiplication they are doing in that class. So, okay. So, children, okay, we'll talk about the age, all the things you need to know. I'm going to send this. So let me just go to the specific teaching techniques. There are various structured teaching techniques that can be used to assist students. You need to find the works that work best for your student. So the first thing is modeling. What is it? If a child is low on attention, what do you need to do? There are ways you can do that. For example, when a child is struggling to focus in the class, model the needed. What you need to do is to model the way you want the child to focus. Sit the child with a student that can, help the child to focus. A child that can do intermittently reminding him that the teachers also can get visual cue on how you can make the child to focus in the class. Then you can break your learning activities into small steps. Now, when you need to, for example, if you're teaching algebra, there are steps to follow. Maybe the first thing is opening the brackets. How do you expand that? Then you use vocabularies that are within the age bracket of the child. So talk about how to expanding the bracket, removing the bracket. Then you can move next to collecting like terms. So all of this, you can have it in form of manual for that child to follow. So you have the manual guidance for that child to follow on different activities you want him to do. Then we'll talk about the gestural points for children with attention. Yes, you can do that for that child to refocus, to stay calmly, and then the use of reward is another thing. A positive reward helps to reinforce positive behavior. I don't know, I'm trying to rush this, and obviously I'm not going into the detail, but let's move to this. Sorry, I'm jumping on this, a whole lot of distraction for me here. Can we see the screen?
Yes, ma.
Yes, you can see what targets.
Exactly.
Yes, you can see it.
So,
Yes,
all right, we have the reading and decoding comprehension. So what do we need to do? So I'm going to pick let me pick this one after the other. So when a child is struggling with reading, the first thing we need to know is to put that child through phonemic awareness. You look at the letter name and the letter sound. What is the letter name? What is the letter sound? So we look at the letter sound of the arbor code. Then the next thing is to move to blending of the letters. Blending the letters. So you can break it into blending with the vowel sounds. Blending of letters with the vowel sound. We have the 5 vowel sound, the R, E, A, E, I, O, U, which is R, E, A, O, O. So start blending it with 2 letters, then moving to the 3 letters. So then another thing is, let us be sure the child is not having any hearing difficulties. So if there is need for an assessment to test hearing level and the visual level, meaning that the child does not have any visual impairment or hearing impairment, if we're certain that is done, then we move to the phonemic awareness that we talk about, blending of letters and being aware of the letter sound. So whatever sound the letter makes, it will help the child. So you can move from 2-letter words to 3-letter words with pictures. It will help this child. Then if a child is having issues with language and speech, a speech therapist can be, the child can go for speech therapy. But even as a teacher, you can also make sure that the sitting arrangement in the classes will let the child look at your mouth, watch your lips, the way you speak, and things that you want the child to understand. Then we speak clearly. So when it comes to, when a child is having communication issue, we can use something like the circle time to meet the need of that child, where you sit the student in a circular form. We know our regular circle time. So it could be on a different topic. Maybe you want to learning how to introduce yourself. So the teacher model how you want the child to do it. Then you ask other students that could speak well, let them talk about it. So, and then the child also, the little effort the child makes, please let us applaud it, and it will help the child to be able to want to do more. So then when a child is having issues with grammar, and there's something I always recommend, this Thesaurus dictionary. We have this ones, that talks about different ones. We can use the same for grammar and vocabulary, Thesaurus dictionary. So we have the one that's for different ages that they can use. So it has the meaning of the word, it has the usage as well. So we can make use of that for children to work with. So then you can have the word family that they need to talk about, different words for a week, the meaning of that word and the usage. So when you have those words displayed in your classroom, this student will be able to see it and use it daily. So you can create a kind of vocabulary chart. Maybe in a week, it could be 2 or 3, and then you give the child to work with that words for the week and the usage, which you emphasize on. Then when it comes to creative writing skill, when a child is struggling, being able to maybe a retelling story in order, or write this creative writing skill, there is this map minding that you can use, different ones. You can, for example, you can use something like maybe how I prepare for school in the morning, or my daily routine. So have it in form of, having the word at the middle. You can draw a circle, have the word in the middle, how I prepare for school daily. So the child will tell you, I brush my teeth. So let it be, I'm going to send the way to do that, the host, so that it can be on the platform, on their website. So have it in a circular form. Then maybe I brush my teeth, I say I eat breakfast. And once the child gives you the idea of what he or she needs to do, then how do we now put it in order? So you can guide the student on how to do that. So we may not be able to take all of this, but you are sure that we are going to have it on the platform. Then for children with that are struggling with social skill, yes, during the playtime, you can have different games that will involve every student in the class. So let the child participate as well, taking turns in maybe like this show and tell, coming to school with different maybe their favorite toys. So where they come to the front, tell you about their toy and why they like it as well. So now I'm going to show us something me stop this. Sorry. So going back to the topic of this webinar, that no child should be left behind. So this is a lesson pro forma that includes every student in our various classrooms. Now we have this lesson plan. This lesson plan talks about differentiating tasks for students in your class. If you look at this, we have the teacher, the date, the week, the group, the topic you want to teach, and the subject. So what are the type of learner that you have? Like I said, I'm going to send a checklist to the host whereby things that you need to give to your learners, let them take. There is a checklist that talks about different aspects, and with taking that checklist, you'll be able to know that this one is a visual learner, this is a kinesthetic. So once you have the knowledge of the learners you are working with, it helps you to plan. So what is their prior knowledge? What is the topic that you want to teach? And what is the topic you want to teach? For example, you want to teach like the multiplication we talk about. So when others are reciting or doing larger number, for example, when you're giving maybe a 2-digit multiplication to the neurotypical, the other one can be working on one single digit multiplier, but they are also doing the same thing. So what accommodation are you going to provide when the numbers are bigger? You can make use of calculator. The child can make use of calculator to solve a bigger digit number. And doing that, it takes frustration out of that child. Because when the number is bigger and you want the child to even during the exam, one of the accommodations during the access arrangement that the school normally make provision for is a prompter and then the use of calculator. I don't know if in Nigerian curriculum is allowed as well. So, but in British curriculum, it is allowed. So you can provide a prompter, a reader, a calculator, different things that suit the need of the child. You can make it ready. So when you are differentiating tasks, you can see for children with special needs, in our various textbooks that we use in schools, when you look at the topic you are teaching, knowing your learner, like I said, it will help you to be able to plan for all of them. You could see, like even in the olden days, when we're giving tasks in our textbooks, you can see that maybe number 1, 2, 3 might be very simple. And then maybe when you get to like number 10, 11, 12, the task could become more difficult. So for children with special needs, you could give them maybe just one, like the simpler one first. But when you're giving tasks, don't give the child like 5 sums at a time. It will be one after the other. Once he's able to understand it, you can give another one. So you can start increasing the complexity of the task that you're going to give, and if he's able to do the first one successfully. So, and then when we talk about special needs, do you know that even children that are gifted and talented are part of this? When you are giving the same task to students who are gifted, the same thing to children that are struggling academically, of course, your classroom management will be so poor, because when those ones when you give tasks that are not that difficult to gifted and talented students, of course, once they are done, they'll start disturbing the class. But for those that are gifted and talented, there should be an extended task, that once they're done with the general task, give an extended task for them to do, to engage them as well. That way, you are helping them to grow their brain, not killing the brain power by giving them a simpler task. So in your lesson plan, you should, when you are differentiating tasks, there should be one that all of them will be able to do, most of them will be able to do, and some will be able to do. So the keywords in your lesson plan, the keywords that they are going to come across, let it be stated and let them have understanding of those keywords. For example, like expansion, multiplication, collecting the like terms, all the new keywords that are going to come across in those subjects. Please, most time I think I'll be using numeracy to explain because that is my teaching area. So in English, I may not be able to do much, but at least when I'm in the class, I listen to the teachers, I'll be able to. So that's why I'm using, like in mathematics, the keywords that are going to come across, let it be stated in your lesson plan. And what outcome, what do you expect at the end of it? Let it be stated. And so then your criteria for success, state it, maybe like at least for children with special needs, they should be able to maybe do 3 out of 5 sum with 100% or 50% accuracy. You can state that. So what are the activities that they need to do? How you're going to like group them based on ability, on their different abilities and all of that. Then how do you deploy your teaching assistants? Who stay with who guide who on different tasks? It is very important. So I'm going to stop here. Maybe when we have another one, because this slide, I think I have about 30 slides. So I'm just jumping from one to another and to save time. So, and I've told the host as well, when we need to do this, it shouldn't be during the school hour, because right now, many have been coming because I'm in the school and I have to be in class as well to check my students. So if my presentation is not well coordinated, so please just bear with me. It's the timing and my engagement for the day. Thank you very much. I hope we'll be able to pick 1 or 2 things from my presentation and it will get better next time. Thank you very much.